forms of oppression are often the ones who will lead the path. It's not an accident that it was, the most targeted with violence community, drag queens, the trans community, people who didn't conform to gender stereotypes, who were the ones who fought back against the police first because they were bearing the brunt. And right now, when you look in the streets, you see communities who have borne the brunt of a unaccountable level of violence, orchestrated by police departments. And finally, the message "enough is enough" is resonating. So, I think the thing that I really hope people take from this Pride moment is that you have to stand for justice across the board. You have to stand up, whether it shows itself in anti-immigration rhetoric, racism, transphobia, homophobia. You have to stand up collectively to push back because our progress relies on each other.
Well, let's talk about that support. The relationship between communities of color and the LGBTQ plus community is interesting and complicated, both calling for equal rights, as you guys know, but many would say the support between the two hasn't always been strongest. Nadine, we talk about the ways in which these communities should support each other, and especially queer communities of color, but are there things the LGBTQ plus communities should not do? Are there a list of don'ts?
Well, it's interesting because even the formulation of the question can sometimes make the reality that there are many, many, many of us who are and part of the LGBTQ community. And you can't say Black Lives Matter unless you mean all Black Lives Matter. You can't be for justice if you mean some justice. It's a contradiction in terms. I do think that, the work that we have had to do in pushing back against homophobia and transphobia occurs all across the spectrum, across racial divides, political parties. And the work of challenging racism has to happen within the LGBTQ community just as much.
Alfonso, you've also had a wealth of experience as a civil rights lawyer. We often hear about cases of racism or bias within the gay community, race filters and preferences and dating apps, how one community may refer to another. Are there ways maybe just good practices for the gay community to be more inclusive of itself?
Absolutely. I think the idea that racism doesn't exist within the LGBTQ community is such a flawed concept because there is racism, unfortunately, in every community in this country. So within the LGBTQ community, we have to do our work as well. We have to remove the artificial barriers that exist along the lines of race and ethnicity. Those barriers have existed for quite some time. You talked briefly about instances where people create those barriers in their social setting